Hello, my name is Jacob Munoz, and today's topic of discussion is about the question, how can professional football reduce the risk of head injuries to their players? Everyone knows football is a violent contact sport. Although it entertains billions globally and generates billions yearly, it seems the NFL has been catching some negative attention due to head injuries. Over the past decade or so, the topic of head injuries in football as a whole has been emphasized with new diseases like CTE, which is caused by repeated head trauma and injuries, and seeing how they affect former players, especially post-retirement. With all these negatives associated with head injuries in football, many are coming to question the NFL, who often set the standards of rules and protocols countrywide, and if they're doing enough to protect players. Today I will take a deep, in-depth dive and look into the studies and long-term effects of how repeated head trauma and concussions that are prevalent in the NFL, and also look at articles that interview former professional athletes, as I myself conduct interviews with former high school athletes and get their perspective on concussions. Athletes endure so much on and off the field, and they are the ones who experience the repercussions of repeated head trauma firsthand in football. Fox Sports wrote an article that interviewed several players and notable names such as Hall of Fame quarterback for the Packers, Brett Favre. In football, especially back then, many players were told to have a tough guy mentality. To explain this, simply, a tough guy mentality is to shake it off and sort of disregard whatever pain you feel in order to do what's best for the team. Because of this, many players would simply disregard pain they felt in order to satisfy those and be seen as tough. As noble as this may sound, this ultimately lets the players not getting the proper attention they need from medical professionals, which can lead to serious problems down the road, especially when the injury is brain or head related. In the interview, Brett Favre was asked about how his repeated head injuries have affected him post-retirement, and he explains how concussions are overlooked and how he still struggles with the aftermath of numerous concussions, even after all these years away from football. The Associated Press also interviewed former NFL players regarding this topic, and former NFL running back Cedric Benson stated, "Before these studies came out, I'd probably say hide and stay in the game." This further reinstates the idea of the tough man mentality that many players live by, and unfortunately affects players' health later in their careers. Many former players and families of former players have taken action against the league, claiming they don't do enough to prevent these head injuries and how they suffered the consequences of the NFL's negligence. Well, let's take a look from the NFL's point of view. As of the past decade or so, the NFL has done a complete overhaul of its concussion protocol in order to meet the ever-rising standards and expectation of the public and its players. The commissioner of the NFL is Roger Goodell, and he is asked frequently about concussion numbers and what they are doing to improve it. In an article by ESPN, he stated they are putting an intensive focus on making the concussion protocol the best it can be. The NFL is the entity that sets the standards for protocols and rules for football all over the nation. From youth football leagues to college football, whatever the NFL sets as the concussion protocol, everyone else follows suit. So the NFL carries a lot of weight on its shoulders at not only the professional level, but all levels of football, so they must do everything they can to make the concussion and head injury protocols as efficient and effective as possible. Let's take a look at the NFL's concussion protocol. It is called the 5-step process, which is required for a player who sustained concussion to take the field. These steps consist of symptom-limited activity, aerobic exercise, football-specific exercise, club-based non-contact drills, and then full football activity. After these 5 steps are fulfilled, the player then meets with the doctor who is not affiliated with any NFL team to determine if they are cleared to play. To the NFL's credit, concussions are down a solid amount due to recent equipment advances and, of course, the NFL's new concussion protocol. But only time will tell if it really is effective when it comes to protecting athletes in the long run. Well, this is my podcast. I'm Jacob Munoz, and I'm here with...
My name is Gabe Madrano.
Let's go ahead and get it started. So during your career, how often were head injuries or concussions discussed among players?
They're discussed a lot, especially in the locker room and amongst coaches. I mean, nobody wants to get injured, everyone wants to keep playing, right? So, they try to preach safety and, proper tackling for whatever to prevent head injuries and concussions. That can take you out, and that could lead to death and serious casualties for your health and life. So it's definitely talked about a lot.
I agree. Did you ever feel pressure to keep playing after taking a hard hit?
Yeah. Obviously.
Like, this is spanning all your years, like from middle school to high school.
No, yeah, for sure. I was pretty good growing up and even in high school. So, and I started the majority of my career. So, I mean, obviously, if I take a big hit, I get hit in the head, whatever, there is pressure to keep playing because, I don't want to be taken out. I don't want to lose my spot to somebody else that I know, like, doesn't work as hard, doesn't deserve it. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely pressure because, I want to keep playing.
Yeah, obviously, you don't want to let the team down, too.
Yeah, of course not,
What was the culture like what was the culture like around reporting concussion symptoms? Like, was it frowned upon, or was it...
I wouldn't say it was frowned upon, but it was definitely, like, I don't know.
Did you feel, like, pressure from, like, your peers,
Yeah, definitely. I would say in that aspect, yeah, maybe it's frowned upon, just because, like, you don't want to seem like you're, like, a sissy or whatever, you know what I mean? So, it can be perceived as frowned upon, or it can be perceived like, oh, like, just tough it out or be a man about it, right? But yeah, those things.
Did you personally witness teammates suffer any long-term effects from concussion or repeated hits or anything like that, or no?
Yes, I have actually. One of my buddies growing up, this was in middle school, so it was pretty early on. He had suffered 2 concussions already playing middle school, and then come freshman year playing football, he suffered another one, and they told him he had to stop playing because it was like detrimental to his health. Like he could have lost his life if he kept playing.
Yeah, it's just one of the things whenever you're playing football. I mean, everyone knows it's a violent sport, but a lot of people neglect all the hard hits that can add up eventually.
For sure.
So, how effective would you say the concussion protocols were whenever you played?
I would say they're pretty effective. I mean, we had good trainers at my school, so I mean, they make sure that we're good and ready to play, and I think they're pretty good. And then even like when I reported my concussion, they were pretty good about it. They made sure like I was okay. Went through all the whole like training and rehab process of it, and it was just, I would say that the procedures and protocols and just the staff in general, it was good.
All right. So just to round everything off, based on your experience, what is the most important thing people misunderstand about head injuries in football?
I think a lot of people misunderstand, they see it differently. Like, it's a very, very harmful and very dangerous thing. Head injuries, ruin and stop a lot of people's careers. So I think a lot of people they don't understand the impact that head injuries can have, and they don't understand how important it is if you have one to report it or to get the proper rehab and proper care that you need. Just because nobody wants to stop playing, right? Everyone wants to keep playing, so it's just you have to be aware of your body and yourself, and if you're feeling injured, you definitely need to report it.
Right. I completely agree. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Anytime.
This is my podcast. This is my second interview with, I'm Jacob Munoz, and this is
Ryan Brown.
Alright, so for my first question, during your career, how often were head injuries or concussions discussed among players?
Discuss every year, honestly, right before the season starts, because it's very important, and it shouldn't be treated like it's not important, because it can really do really bad damage to your mental health and all that.
Yeah, it can affect a lot of people long term for sure, if not treated right. So for my second question, did you ever feel pressure to keep playing after taking a hard hit?
Pressure to play?
Yeah. Like maybe you would be looked down upon, maybe?
I definitely played after concussion, but it made it worse, and I just feel like if I didn't play, I'll be out for 2 weeks, and coach would just throw me away or replace me.
I relate to that a lot. So for my third question, what was the culture like around reporting concussion symptoms?
Usually when people see you in the sidelines injured, everyone thinks you're not gonna play, or you're kind of like a sissy and all that. So if anyone got concussion, they try to their best to not look made it look like they had a concussion, just fight through the pain kind of, but it's not really
because they don't want to be frowned upon by the teammates or friends or anything like that. Did you ever deal with that or no? Did that feel like you were pressured to kind of stay in or anything like that?
Basically, because I didn't want to be looked down upon, always look injured all the time.
Yeah. All right. For one of the last questions, did you personally witness teammates suffer long-term effects from repeated hits?
I don't think so, except for this one guy named Chase Bazell, but he would just act different because he got a couple concussions, but he's just just a little just tensed up. I feel like it's one of the...
You saw some attitude and mood changes after...
Yeah, definitely some mood swings.
Yeah. How effective would you say the concussion protocols were when you played?
How effective?
Do you think they did enough to protect the players and make sure they get back?
Mm-hmm. They would do a 2-week process, and they made sure if you weren't good, they're not letting you play at all. and they just make you take this test every day, and like the score is like lower and lower. They'll think about it, but they won't like be like, all right, you can go in and play. It's not like that at all.
So for the final question, based on your experience, what is the most important thing people misunderstand about head injuries in football?
I think they misunderstand how important it can be, cause health over like any sport any day. Cause if you're fighting through like a head injury, and it can like get worse by like the time being, like I don't think that's worth it at all. Like your mental health your health and like just overall your health just like should be in front of you, like important. You know?
I agree. You should definitely place your health, your long-term health over any sort of sport, for sure. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
To round this off, the NFL is taking steps to protect their athletes from concussions and other head injuries. With more time and more research, the NFL will continue to improve their concussion protocol to ensure concussion numbers stay low, but only time will tell if more rules or changes will have to be made, and if football as we know it will have to change to do so. Thank you for watching.